Hello everyone, this is Bob and Threadbare, and welcome back to Deus Ex. Before we go to New York, there are a couple of things I need to go get. Yep, I said we'd be back here, and here we are. For a lockpick and 100 credits. Hardly seems worth the effort.
Some of these people.
Don't listen to what they're saying about the shootout in the park and Hell's Kitchen. You had other priorities.
But goddamn, do those MIBs have the creepiest idle dialogue in the entire game. Now it's time for a quick recharge, and...
Let's go.
We're dropping you in Battery Park. We know the NSF were moving material through here at one point. Seems like a good place to start looking.
Place looks a lot quieter now.
I saw you earlier. You're the guy they sent into the subway station. You don't look augmented. From what I heard, when it's dangerous, they send in soldiers that are all mech. Like 90% metal. I don't see why they don't just use robots.
Well, AI problem solving is still inferior to a human brain.
Pretty soon it'll just be machines that fight wars.
Man, that's an old sentiment.
Pretty soon it'll just be machines that fight wars.
So, yeah, all's quiet now that the NSF have been run out of Battery Park. Just a bunch of cops and a bunch of bums left now.
I think we scared them off. Except for that one barrel of ambrosia, there's been no sign of the shipment. Don't tell Navarra. We've let some of the bums back into the park. They don't have anywhere to go. Maybe check the shantytown. A lot of strange characters go through there. Nothing to report, Agent. You can assure UNATCO that the area has been secured. An NYPD crime scene unit came by. They said they didn't find much. Not much happening. City's under curfew. Don't tell Navarra. We've let some of the bums back into the park. They don't have anywhere to go.
In fact, there's really nothing to find except for the occasional bum outside of the shantytown.
This whole place just got shot up a few minutes ago. The United Nations invaded the city because of the NSF. I think most of the rebels got away. The NSF won't get caught because they know how to use the secret parts of the subway. My dad always said that someday the UN would have an army, would try to take over the United States. I thought he was correct in the head. The United Nations invaded the city because of the NSF.
Of course, that being said, it's kind of remarkable how pretty much every bum in this entire map has unique dialogue. The cops don't, though.
We sure appreciate the help tonight, Agent. We made a sweep of the area. No sign of the NSF. If you want eyewitnesses, I'd say check the subway or the shantytown. You'll be the first to know if we find anything. They got us on patrol until morning. All quiet up here. You'll be the first to know if we find anything.
And as for the secret entrance, well, they're guarding it too.
We've got the secret passage sealed up, sir. They call it a bolt hole. It's probably been part of the fort since it was built.
Apparently they replaced the vending machine as well. How nice of them.
Looks like the terrorists were using it to smuggle supplies.
Don't worry. No one's getting past us.
Tomorrow morning they're going to cement it shut. Tomorrow morning they're going to cement it shut.
That's a little creepy.
They got ambrosia. I know they have some barrels of ambrosia, but they said it's gotta be processed or it'll kill you faster than the Gray Death. I don't care. I'd try anything. I hope the NSF leaves some ambrosia in New York. Everyone says they're gonna ship it to China. I can't make it another day. I just want it to be over. I can't make it another day.
Not sure if I feel worse for that guy or for his poor shirt.
Hey, you a cop? The terrorists got away.
Oh, hey, Billy. Nice to see you're doing okay.
They built a secret passage in the subway station. You didn't used to be able to get to Brooklyn Bridge Station from here. It's neat, but I wouldn't go down there now, even if I knew the code. They built a secret passage in the subway station.
We lost the battle today. I admit it, yes, Lord.
You with the NSF?
Had myself a division, mind you, back when we were the Northwest Secessionist Forces. Years ago. They thought they had us licked. Like they think they have us licked tonight. But look at me, young sir. We're God's army, and what infernal devil can stop God's army?
Well, you take care of yourself.
Found me 2 30-06 clips. Now all I need's a gun, and then it's me and Satan. Yes, Satan. One last look into the devil's red eyes.
Sounds like you served God admirably in the Northwest War. But maybe you should let a soldier from the younger generation take the clips off your hands. What do you want for him?
Huh? You mean money? You want to buy them? Well, guess I'd take about 300 for each one.
That's a reasonable rate. Plus, I raided a whole bunch of ATMs, so...
I'll take both of them for 600.
Praise heaven! Tonight was a lesson, praise Jesus. A lesson writ in blood. But once again, we gather amid whispers and secret numbers. We gather and wait. Now tell me, young sir, with that smart look on your face, if the army has the streets, but the rebels still have the subways and the tunnels, is that a UN victory? Those NSF boys certainly don't have trouble bringing in supplies, with or without the streets. With the help of angels and our God in heaven, amen, our brothers tonight, all but a few, gave the jackals the slip. Tonight was a lesson, praise Jesus, a lesson written.
Well, I'm sure he could use the money more than he could use the clips anyhow. Using the one is probably more likely to get himself killed.
Oh. Go away. Just... contagious. I got no use for a handout. Every day, some new disease. I think it's government labs. Oh, thank you for talking to this old bag of bones. Most people, they look at you like you're already dead. Don't forget to wash your fruit. I think that's how I got it. Take care of yourself. That's enough. You're wearing me out.
I like how she was grateful for the attention after you talked to her for a while. So, here's another secret hidden in the darkness. Nothing else in this particular room, but I do have this book here with a very useful 4-digit number.
And keeping out of the way, like they said. You don't have to push. I didn't have nothing to do with what went down tonight. The NSF got what they wanted. That's all I know. What? What? Yeah, I've been in trouble with the law before. So what? When I'm in jail, it's usually because I fell asleep somewhere, like it's a crime to sleep. Doesn't seem to be too much to ask for, a piece of ground. Yeah, I've been in trouble with the law before. So what?
So the secret passages into the ductwork, those are still there, but there's no reason to use them anymore. Nobody we need to ambush down in the subway station, after all.
Oh, thank you again. My hands get so cold.
Yeah, like I said, we'll probably both get kicked out when whoever it is gets back. I live underground.
All the same. Plenty of room around the fire. Don't worry. We're allowed to be here. Cops have been pretty cool tonight. It's little things once in a while that make you feel not so much like a leper anymore. Don't worry. We're allowed.
I can think of safer places to camp. After all the fighting tonight.
Cops said I could be here. Besides, I ain't camping. I'm with the mole people.
Why the name Mole People?
They call us that because we live underground. Like they're some kind of superior beings or something because they got more money than we do.
Maybe you should join your people. Anywhere underground would be safer than Battery Park.
The moles need someone topside. And besides, it's been pretty quiet. I'd rather be here than have the NSF tromping around with machine guns.
The NSF are hiding out with the Mole People?
Yeah, they haven't hurt anybody. We guess it's all right.
I need to contact the NSF. Think you could tell me how to find the moles?
Sure. Just give me the password so I know they trust you.
Underworld.
Good. Long as they decided to give you access. Go to the phone booth in the subway station. The code's MOLE. That's 665 tree.
Thanks.
When you get to the Brooklyn Bridge station, talk to Charlie. He'll get you into the tunnels where we live.
Think it's true the vaccine they got? Think it'd really kill you?
It's super concentrated. I heard the NSF talking. They're gonna process it, though.
I hope so. I can't go much longer.
Charlie's the lieutenant mayor. He takes care of infrastructure. I like Charlie. He's always been straight with me.
What about the mole settlement? You taking new people?
Well, it's not the best time. Not right now.
I don't mind. I'd sleep in the dirt, whatever.
The thing is, they've got this policy. No one with the Gray Death can go past Brooklyn Bridge Station.
Oh, I see.
I'm sorry, miss, really.
No need. No, I understand.
We live in the tunnels west of Brooklyn Bridge Station.
Apparently that was worth having a note for that. Mole People Tunnels, west of Brooklyn Bridge Station.
It's not a bad place. Lots of good people down here. Now, we have our own government, elections, a real democracy. Democracy's for small towns. That's how it developed back in Athens.
Of course, the Athenian slaves couldn't vote.
We're modeled on the Greeks, with no outside influences. When there's millions of people in a country, no one has any say about anything. Big countries always turn into dictatorships. Then they fall apart under their own weight. Thought you were in a hurry to track down the NSF. I like Charlie. He's always been straight with me.
So it's actually kind of amazing the number of different ways that you can get past this map and to the secret tunnel that leads to Brooklyn Bridge Station. And by the way, no, you cannot go to Hell's Kitchen at this time. Oh hey, it's Harvey.
Thanks again for the key.
It wasn't a favor. I was well paid.
A real patriot.
I see it like this. It all balances out. UNATCO's just as much gun freaks as the militias. And if everybody's gonna shoot it out, fine, so long as neither side wins and takes over the whole country.
The goal of UNATCO is not conquest. It's the safety of ordinary people like yourself.
I know an army when I see one. Look, I'll be blunt. You got any cash? There's a secret passage behind that phone booth over there. For 500, I'll tell you where to get the code.
I already got the code to the phone booth, but thanks. We think they're loading the Ambrosia onto a plane. You heard anything about that?
Nothing I can put a price on. UNATCO already thinks it's Juan Lebedev.
Lebedev?
I don't know who else it could be. He owns a whole terminal at LaGuardia. Manderley's been trying to bump him off for years.
Since when is LaGuardia for sale?
City had some debts a few years back. There's always a buyer. But Lebedev's small time. He can't buy off the big politicians like a Bob Page.
Who does he buy off?
People lower down, but useful. Some of your buddies at UNATCO, actually.
Who?
You can't afford that one. Yeah, if it's Lebedev, you're gonna have a chance to be a hero. Manderley wants him dead. Figured you'd come through here.
You want to know something? Find me. Figured you'd come through here.
So yeah, in total, if you have one lockpick, one explosive, either 2 or 5 bypass tools, multi-tools, or if you have 500 credits, or if you do somebody a favor 3 maps ago. Any one of those things is enough to come down here and head off to Brooklyn Bridge Station. By the way, the Brooklyn Bridge is actually fairly close to Battery Park. It's only a few blocks away, still on the southeast side of Manhattan. LaGuardia, on the other hand, is on the other side of the bridge, in Brooklyn, and considerably farther away.
After the quakes, the homeless drifted down here. Junkies, runaways, grifters. There's a DSS file a mile long on this place. Some of them, the so-called mole people, have permanent living quarters in an adjacent tunnel system not on my map.
Also, if the mole people are to the west, and I've seen that one before, if the mole people are to the west, then that's going the wrong way. LaGuardia is to the east of the Brooklyn Bridge. Also, that poster just tells you how old that this particular station is. By the way, did Alex say quakes? Quakes in New York? What the hell kind of earthquakes hit New York? Just for reference, the east coast of the United States is about as seismically inactive as it is possible to be on this earth.
I don't handle the money. Talk to Charlie. You want Zyme? Talk to the guy in the corner. His name's Rob. You deaf? I said I don't handle the money. Beat it.
Apparently Charlie handles the hookers as well as the infrastructure.
The doctors in that clinic, they ain't worth 5 credits. Nurse knew I was sick. She just don't care. I've got the plague. That's why I look like this. They should be giving me disability. It's my right. Government lets people get poor, and they wonder why someone jacks their Mercedes. The doctors in that clinic, they ain't worth 5 credits.
And so this is another map I could just skip entirely if I wanted to. Just 3 tools and I am out of here. Well, that's no fun. There's a whole bunch of stuff to be done in here.
Nurse knew I was sick. She just...
And I intend to do it.
Oh my God.
You have a problem?
Get out! I got a bomb!
A bomb's a bad choice for close-range combat.
Might as well use it. Rock says I owe him. He won't even give me 1 vial for it.
What kind of bomb?
I think they said it was called a lamb.
You looking to trade?
I gotta, man. I need a vial of Zyme.
Huh. Wonder how he got a hold of a lamb and... Yeah, I'll leave that kid to it.
I'm looking for the mole people.
You don't want to camp with them. Trust me, they're too political.
I don't need a place to camp.
I started the mole people. I was there first. And then they made up committees that throw people out just because they don't like the way you look.
How do I find them?
Don't bother. They're elitist. And now the NSF is down there too. It stinks down there anyway.
And sour grapes much?
I'm a classic example of the individualist. I do better on my own. The only thing about staying up here is the rooks. One time I was drunk and fell asleep and they put me on the train tracks. Good thing the 5 is shut down.
Yeah, rather permanently, too. Looks like there's nothing in this particular piece of infrastructure aside from the homeless.
I hear the NSF are using the mole people hideout as a base.
Are you the feds? We don't need a war down here.
I work for UNATCO.
Well, the NSF come through here, but they don't bother us. If we need help with anything, it's our plumbing. We lost pressure because of the explosions on South Street.
Tough break. You tell me about the NSF, and I'll put in a word with the city about the water.
The city don't know we got water, and they don't need to know. How about you fix it, and then I'll talk?
I don't have much time.
I would open the valve myself, but there was a cave-in. Utility door's blocked. It's up at the north end of the tracks, in case you want to take a look.
Clearing a tunnel. That would require explosives.
It could be done. A lamb would do the trick. It's just that I'm not gonna be the one to talk to the rooks. They'd probably sell us one, but they don't like people going into their turf, which is the whole upper level. I tried to clear a path to the door, but I'm not worth a nickel anymore. The gang runs the whole upper level of the station. The leader calls himself El Rey, but he's just a punk.
El Rey, by the way, is Spanish for the king.
Yeah, the city don't care if we siphon off a bit. You want to get to our hideout, you go through me. The gang runs the whole upper level of the station.
And there we go. That's why you'd need a lamb. Of course, if you happen to bring your own explosives, like, for instance, the Gap gun or the 7 lambs I've already got. But hey, it gives me the chance to engage in some interesting activities.
What you need, bro? Vials are $250.
What do you know about a gang called the Rooks?
Gang? Who calls them a gang?
Just what I heard.
Bunch of pussycats. I come within 50 yards. They scatter.
Seems that other people aren't so lucky.
Always talking big, trying to be players. The junkies found a box of lambs the other day. Now El Rey puts on the show of being an arms dealer.
The junkies?
Oh, sure. Only a matter of time until someone's stash disappears and people start blowing up.
Well, that explains Lemmy.
Rock's the name, guy. Anything you want.
Know where I can find the mole people?
Good neighbors keep each other's business private.
You want to set a price?
I'm a good neighbor. You want to buy something or not?
I shouldn't press the authority angle, but...
I'm with you, Natko. Start talking.
I ain't going back to jail.
Let's try some word association. First word, ambrosia.
Bitch, I ain't going back to jail.
Well then, good news. You're not going anywhere. And there we go. 2 free vials of Zyme. Now you can talk with both of these junkies here.
Hey man, you got any Zyme?
I hear someone found a box of lambs down here.
Grenades? Oh yeah, but they're all gone now.
Where'd they go?
A lot of people took them, but not me. I was too late.
Who? Anyone still have one?
Yeah, with my friend Lenny, except he got sick. I don't know where he went.
Anyone else?
I think most people sold him to the NSF, but not me. That's why I'm broke. You gotta help me get some Zyme. Rock's all high and mighty now that there's money going around.
Yeah, sure. I'll just feed your habit here.
Take a vial.
Oh, cool. Thanks, man.
Now maybe you can calm down for a second and tell me how to get to the mole people hideout.
Yeah, sure. They're in the tunnels.
And?
The keypad's under the sink, in the woman's bathroom. Everybody knows that.
The code?
Got me. The mole people keep me out because they don't like Zyme.
Probably a good policy.
Hey, thanks, dude. Oh. Who needs Rock, huh? Not me. He could just die. Take his 50-cut Zyme and blow.
Well, I've got good news and bad news.
Under the sink, man. Look under the sink. Hey, that's Lenny's problem. He don't share. Hope he blows himself up with that grenade. Hey, that's Lenny's problem. He don't share.
The bad news would be that your drug dealer is dead. But yeah.
Beat it.
Let's go talk to Lenny now. Get that lamb off of him before he kills himself or anyone else.
Oh my god.
All I want's one right now. Just one vial.
Suppose I could part with a vial of Zyme if you'll give me the lamb.
You got some? Really?
Yeah, let's see the lamb.
Take it, man. Whatever. Where's the Zyme?
Make it last. I killed homeboy out by the tracks.
Yeah, this is the men's restroom. Get yourself out of here. I should report you. Come on. Anyway, naturally, feeding the junkies is a lot easier if you bring Zyme in from an earlier map. Like the 2 vials I found but dropped back in Hell's Kitchen.
Hold up, bro.
What is it?
You on Rook's territory now. Just so you know.
You call yourselves Rooks?
That's right. Up here, it's business. You want to do business? Talk to El Rey.
I'll keep that in mind.
Just take it easy, bro. Be cool. No one up here is looking for a fight. El Rey runs the show.
I imagine they can tell that JC could possibly kick their ass, which is why they're being so polite to him. But there's something else to take care of first before we do anything else up on this floor. A free multi-tool, and secretly you can get through the subway station panel there. So let's use that lamb I just picked up, because why not? I got so many to spare. Looks like that didn't spook anybody. So in here we've got a bunch of flares and a data cube with the code to that keypad that they were talking about earlier. So yeah, that's one additional way that you can get through here without having to bother with the obvious path of talking to Charlie and getting a lamb for yourself. Also, hope you don't mind, but I feel like taking out the trash today. Now, quite naturally, there's no reason to do this either. I mean, you heard the Rooks. Be cool. Don't want to cause any trouble. Don't want to cause any fighting, but me, I'm here to cause some fighting. There we go. Now the women here are also gang members, but they are non-combatants. They will not attack you of their own volition. Although you can kill them if you feel like it. I don't really feel like it. It's not necessary to do what I'm trying to do by killing all the Rooks here. Oh, no you don't. Sorry, El Rey, but you're not going anywhere just yet.
You ain't all that.
Just killed half of your gang.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Easy, bro. You don't gotta kill no one.
Yeah? Who says?
What you want? I got this lamb. You can have it, man. The Rooks? No, we're businessmen. We can have a business relationship.
Something like that. The normal options here are purchase it for $7.50 or kill Rock downstairs and get it for free. But for killing the Rooks, I instead get these options.
I want more. Either your life is worth more than a lamb, or it's not worth living.
That's all I got, man.
A crowbar? Really? Man, that is pretty sad. Apparently all he had was the lamb. Oh well. El Rey's girlfriend, you're free to go. I don't know. Could be he had a sawed-off shotgun. I believe one of the gang members I just killed has a sawed-off shotgun because...
Think you're bad, strutting around Rook's turf.
Oh, but no. I was able to pick up the buckshot on the ground.
You better keep yourself in line. You come in Rook's territory, you show respect. Think you're bad, strutting around Rook's turf.
This This is so incredibly hilarious, I can't let it go unrewarded. Alright, so that's the Rooks and that's the Rock dealt with. El Rey is dead. Gang members are dead. Drug dealers are dead. Not much left down here except a bunch of homeless and junkies and occasional mole person. So this is what you need a lamb for. Or, like I said, any other kind of explosive that you happen to bring with you. It's not that picky. It's just giving you the opportunity, that's all. Steam's too dangerous to cross. And although I could go into that giant tube there and pick the lock, it's that's the method for chumps. Real men climb up to the side there and ignore the locked door entirely. There's no real way but beneath, I can tell. But once you're over here, get 100 skill points for turning the water back on. Steam valve becomes safe to cross. And now we can go tell Charlie the good news.
The water line should be open now.
Good. Glad to see you UNETCO boys do something for the community.
Now can you tell me about the NSF?
NSF? Yeah, they took over our tunnels.
How do I get there?
Go to the women's restroom on the other side of the station. Look for a keypad under the sink. Combination's 5482.
Great. I'm glad I can help you out.
Be careful if there's a gunfight. There are families living down there. The mole people aren't militant like the NSF. The NSF wants a base down there because it's close to LaGuardia. Yeah, thanks again. The mole people aren't militant like the NSF.
Of course, like I said before, I checked the map and the mole people west of Brooklyn Bridge Station is nowhere near LaGuardia. Not at all. But this is the secret passage forward. That was a whole bunch of stuff I didn't have to go through, but it was worth it for the skill points. And now, today's Conspiracy Corner is about crack cocaine and drugs in urban communities. Mostly crack, though. So I imagine that a fair number of you have heard the theory that the CIA introduced crack into poor black neighborhoods in an effort to cause their self-destruction. An ethnic genocide, if you will. It shares a lot in common with the theory that HIV was created by the same people to do the same thing, but unlike the AIDS theory, the idea that the CIA was helping drug dealers actually has legs. But to explain what I mean, I'll have to start at the beginning, and the beginning is in Nicaragua. The Iran-Contra affair. Up until 1979, the Somoza family held power in Nicaragua beginning in 1927 thanks to U.S. backing. However, the Somozas eventually went too far when instead of rebuilding the capital, Managua, after an earthquake in 1972, they siphoned off all the relief money to their own personal bank accounts. Finally, after 7 years of fighting Sandinista rebels, Anastasio Somoza fled the country and the Sandinistas took over. However, while by this point the Somozas were no longer favored by the United States, the Reagan administration didn't want a group as dangerously left-wing as the Sandinistas controlling a Central American nation. Gotta watch out for the Soviet influence, after all, especially with the Cuban Missile Crisis there as an object lesson. And so, the CIA secretly funded and trained groups who opposed the new government, the Contra Sandinistas. Unfortunately for that effort, though, it soon became obvious that the Contras were using the money their leaders didn't just steal for themselves to commit massacres, acts of torture, mass rapings, looting, pillaging, and just being all around horrible people. When Congress found out their money was behind these acts, they passed the Boland Amendment in 1982 to cut off CIA funds for the Contras. However, that did not stop the CIA or the Reagan administration completely. Instead, Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North diverted funds from an illegal weapons deal between the United States and Iran, which was performed in exchange for 6 American hostages taken in Lebanon. Iran was firmly embroiled in a war with Iraq at this point, and so they needed all the missiles they could get, even from us. Cocaine enters the picture thanks to one other fundraising activity the Contras engaged in: drug smuggling. The Nicaraguan angle was small potatoes compared to the Mexican and Caribbean routes, but it came up just as cheap crack cocaine was gaining popularity in American urban centers, and it particularly supplied the first major crack dealer of south-central Los Angeles, Ricky Freeway Ross. Now, the CIA didn't engage in any drug dealing itself, nor was crack in black neighborhoods ever a goal, but it has since come to light that the CIA was aware that certain Contra groups were dealing in cocaine, and not only did they do nothing, but they also enabled their smuggling efforts in order to keep the Contras funded. One particularly memorable incident that came up in a report was how the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration, seized $36,800 from an LA drug dealer only to have the CIA convince the Justice Department to return the cash. In 1996, reporter Gary Webb published a series of 3 articles in California's second-largest newspaper, the San Jose Mercury News. The series was titled Dark Alliance and drew a connection between Rick Ross and the CIA-backed Contras in Nicaragua. Unfortunately, the series was far from perfect. It relied heavily on interviews with the drug dealers themselves, and the third part implied a lot about a wider scheme by the CIA to fill urban neighborhoods with crack. If it had been more carefully edited so that it backed away from these more spurious claims, Dark Alliance might have been a nice addition to the existing coverage of the Iran-Contra affair, but as it was, it attracted both a strong reaction from the African-American community and a lot of fringe groups and conspiracy theorists who jumped to even further conclusions and wound up discrediting the report by association. By the next year, the 3 biggest newspapers in America, the Washington Post, the New York Times, and the Los Angeles Times, all ran stories that thoroughly debunked Dark Alliance, an unprecedented attack which, as it turns out, was as poorly researched itself and based quite heavily on unnamed sources within the CIA. The CIA itself eventually released a report which vindicated Gary Webb's central premise, if not his grander insinuations, but it flew under the radar of the corporate newspapers and came too late to save Webb's career. Crack cocaine in America. Crack emerged as a major U.S. import in the early 80s thanks to a bumper crop of coca in Colombia. Rather than risk deflating the price, cocaine dealers mixed the drug with baking powder, boiled the result into crack rocks. Crack is easy to make, spreads the drug supply thanks to dilution, provides a short but intense and incredibly addictive high, and worst of all, is cheap enough that even homeless minorities can afford a few rocks. Cocaine is considered a rich man's drug, even today, but thanks to crack, suddenly everybody could try it. It's a real feat of the free market, if you think about it, aside from the horrible things it does to your body. Fortunately, the fact that cocaine is also illegal in the United States did horrible things to the urban communities where demand exploded. Dealers and gangs raked in an incredible amount of money, which they used to buy weapons to fight over territory, and strung-out junkies became desperate enough to do just about anything for more crack money, together leading to an incredible spike in both violent crimes and the number of prisoners in the United States, although the latter was helped along thanks to plainly unfair sentence lengths. for crack possession as compared to cocaine. It's fair to say that crack did more to destroy African American neighborhoods than HIV, although the fact that both hit at once did nobody any favors. Crack is still a problem today, but things have at least settled down to a more stable level of supply and demand. You know, you can actually see this sort of destructive arc throughout history. For instance, Dutch gin became incredibly popular in England following the Glorious Revolution. You'll recall it put a Dutchman on the throne, so much so that it devastated poor communities across the nation and led to a lot of inefficient government restrictions. Instead, the gin craze petered out of its own accord by 1757 thanks to rising food prices. In the early 19th century, opium was introduced by English merchants and devastated communities in China, leading to ineffective restrictions and 2 wars in which England humiliated the Chinese government and even forced them to lease Hong Kong to the British Crown. It was only after the oppressive communist government took power and used draconian tactics to force people off of opium that its use was reduced to a sustainable level. In the late 19th century, drinking became an increasingly popular pastime as the United States industrialized following the Civil War. The proliferation of saloons and bars devastated urban communities and, in particular, attached the prohibition movement to the women's rights movement, as drunk husbands, stressed out from their crappy factory jobs, would frequently go home and beat their wives. Eventually, alcohol was made illegal on a national scale, but this proved to be utterly ineffective. Fortunately, the speakeasy culture the Prohibition created wound up being more social and gender equal, and so while alcohol can still be a problem, it's at least a smaller, more stable issue. And of course, even now, rural communities across America are being devastated by the rise of methamphetamines. But while it's bad now, I get the feeling that I know how things will turn out in a couple decades. Personal thoughts. I actually don't use drugs of any kind. Alcohol is too bitter for me, even in fruity wine coolers. Cigarette smoke makes me nauseous. Coffee is too bitter too, and a 16-ounce energy drink has enough caffeine to give me a stomach ache. As for the illegal drugs, well, I'm far too timid to even consider trying them. Still, I know those are just excuses. I could get used to alcohol if I gave myself the chance. I could try pipe smoking, and hell, if I can talk about myself to strangers on the internet, my shyness can't be that big a problem. The real reason is that I'm sort of a control freak, at least over myself. I don't want to lose control over myself, or change the way I think for even a single moment. The world is a beautiful place. I want to see it for how it really is, every minute of every day. Mind you, I also understand why other people would use drugs. I'm fully aware that my life has been incredibly fortunate compared to others, and I'm not about to berate anyone for doing what I'm too scared to attempt. When your life's a pile of shit, using drugs doesn't help. It never does, but can at least mask the scent for a while. Everybody needs a hobby to escape from the stress of living, and that includes me. And just have a look back at the first 30 minutes if you're wondering what my hobby is. The problem is that some hobbies lead more easily to a destructive addiction than others. And when something new comes along that's particularly dangerous, it destroys a lot of unprepared people. But when it's as alluring as crack or alcohol or opiates, there's not much anyone can do except suffer through the bad times until people get used to dealing with whatever it is that showed up. Thanks for joining me again in Conspiracy Corner, and I hope I'll see you soon.